my name's Tobias. Welcome to Van House Conversions. Just wanted to show you around the library bus, which is going to be mine and my other half and the dog, obviously, our next new home. It's probably going to be a long build series, so I thought I'd just give you a sort of initial look round basically. It's a Mercedes Vario 2006. It's done 58,000 miles, which is pretty unheard of, which is why I couldn't leave this thing alone basically. I was watching it for months and months and had to go and see it. And yeah, it was, you know, it has so much potential to be a great full-time home. After living in a jumbo transit for the last 2.5 years, it will feel like a palace. Yeah, it's a big old space. I think it's about 7 metres from behind the driver's seat to the rear wall. It's about 7 metres and about 2.2 wide internally, and about 2.1 metres tall inside. That'll be with the new wooden roof that I'm going to put in basically, so the ceiling's probably about 2.3 without that, but you can't really build a wooden frame and you can't really use the roof very easily that's there. You need to build something stronger inside so that you can insulate it properly within the actual wall ceiling that's there. I'll also make a bit of an effort to try not to and ah like I do normally. Quite a few comments about my umming and ahhing through videos. There we go again. Yeah, I don't know why I do that, but that is me. Again. So yeah, I mean, on another note, I've had a very strange weekend. I think people are sent to test you in life. You put a huge amount of effort in for someone for something, and you know the way that some people can be and the total lack of appreciation they can have is just mind-boggling, to be honest. It's something I haven't experienced since I was working in London as an estate agent, when you're dealing with, you know, very sort of wealthy individuals that have got lots of properties and very little sentiment towards the people that they're renting them to and the people that are renting them for them. So it's been a bit of a reminder that people out there aren't all good people. I'm not going to go into it in detail because obviously it's not really something I should share, but I just wanted to just see if anyone can relate, really, if you've been, you know, in a situation where you've been as good a person as you can be, and then you've been treated in a very, you know, in the total opposite way basically. It's difficult when you've got the best intentions and people assume that you're out to screw them over somehow, when it's been pretty clear that I work very hard and I'm not a deceitful person by any stretch of the imagination. You know, I will work a minimum of 8 hours a day, up to 14 hours a day, and I always give everything 150%. That's never changed, especially as this is more of a passion pursuit rather than being something I'm looking to make millions of pounds doing. But yeah, running my own business has been my dream, and I'm determined to make sure it works and actually is successful. Yeah, I'm going to take this weekend as a learning experience, and onwards and upwards. And like I said, people are sent to test you, but if you've ever experienced something like that, obviously I've been a bit vague, but if you've ever experienced something like that where you've really felt like you've been really treated badly for no reason essentially, then by all means drop me a message and we're quite happy to have a moan together. But yeah, I'll quickly go and show you the library bus now. So here she is. Absolutely love how these look. They've got such a nice front end on them. Sounds silly, it's just a van, but if you've got a thing for Varios, you know exactly what I mean. They've just got a really chunky front end. They've got these lovely wheel arches as well, which make it just look so cool. The plan is to have all the wheels powder coated black and have the entire van painted in like a battleship grey basically, so all the front panels will be prepped and painted as you would expect in a paint booth, and the rear will probably have to be painted out here when the weather is a bit more forgiving and a bit warmer, so it'll have to be a kind of one-hit job basically. And the tarpaulin has blown off. Let me just quickly put that back up again and I'll be right back. Right, so okay, the tarpaulin has been restrained. You can now see what I've been up to. So basically the back of this library bus is made of ply and fiberglass that's sandwiched together. It's not a bad design, but the problem is, over time, if it's not protected and maintained around the edges, especially as you can see here, that was the bottom of the wall basically around where the sill of the van would be, and as it's only a 90-degree piece of I think aluminium, you can imagine water has just gone straight up in here and turned the ply into mulch, which I did miss when I was looking around it, because I kind of presumed it wasn't made of ply and fiberglass. I think at the time I had in my head it was an aluminium box. Yeah, so not ideal. Some of the walls are fine. Obviously they're not on the van anymore. So you can see the ply there is absolutely fine, but I mean this was around the wheel arch and it's just disintegrated basically. I think this was the worst bit. I mean it's literally like there's nothing left of it. Obviously the fiberglass is absolutely fine, but the walls were just obliterated. When I started digging into it, I stripped out the entire thing in about a day with a friend of mine, and we did about 5 or 6 or even 7 dump runs of you know, shelving, and you know, there was shelves all along the wall. There was a big desk here and there basically with a little sort of lift up gate in between it, like you'd have in a library really. I mean it sounds silly, but with a computer and a till, and yeah, it was, you know, a fully kitted out library. It's from London, so it was for the, I think, borough of Bromley, I think. And yeah, it was completely kitted out. It didn't look like there should be anything hiding beneath, but there always is something. So I made the decision basically after speaking with a boat builder and him not really knowing what we could do either, apart from cutting sections of it out. There is another video series a guy has done of a yellow Mercedes Vario library, and I know he had to cut a few sections out and kind of make good with filler and all sorts of stuff. I just didn't fancy that, because you know, it could always just happen again in the future. All it takes is one water leak for you to you know, miss, and it starts soaking up into the walls, and all the hard work you've put into building it is completely wasted basically. So I made the decision to just buy a load of aluminium. Luckily they were all 2.5 metre sheets by 12.50, which meant that actually I didn't have to cut the height of them off at all. As you can see where they've stopped is bang on where the old walls were basically. So I set about cutting sections of the wall out one by one, and these have been essentially, there's a row of fixings on the top here, so that corner piece up the top is aluminium anyway, so it made sense to carry on with aluminium down the walls, as it will never rust, and lighter as well. Definitely I've gone with 2mm aluminium, so it's really strong, but it's not anywhere near as heavy as what I've taken out. So yeah, the plan was to replace the entire thing basically. So as you can see, I've had to make cutouts for the storage boxes underneath. As the wall was thicker, because the ply fiberglass combination stuff was 18mm with them fiberglass either side. Obviously 2mm of aluminium sits differently on where the boxes are, so I'm going to have to trim the frame of the box underneath, take the faceplate off, which is I've done on the other sides, and you can trim them down and it will sit flush. And I'll put some marine grade sealant around that basically to ensure there's no water getting inside of those boxes, because the idea is that we'll have one of those will be for, you know, putting wellies and boots and things like that can sit in there and drain off, and you're not bringing any dirt into the van. So you can see obviously I've taken the last part of the wall off, which is where the sliding door was. So if you look at the other chap's library bus, you can probably see in his build series I didn't have a chance to film the kind of starting point. Given the weather and timing involved, I had to kind of get cracking, otherwise the inside was just going to keep getting wet. But there was a disabled lift there, which is the steps that are just sitting over there that weighed an absolute ton. So having changed the body, removed the disabled lift, I've removed all the framework round here, I've flat wheeled all of the sealant and rust off that was there, so that's been done all the way around the van. So behind these aluminium panels, I've cleaned all of the metal that it was mounted to, so it shouldn't rust. And it will, you know, in theory, future-proof it. I mean, the chassis of this thing is immaculate. You know, it's only done 58,000 miles and has been in London its whole life. I don't know if you can see that with the lighting, but it's so spotless underneath. It's just a real shame that the body was so waterlogged basically. So now that it's got a new aluminium body on it, I'll show you the other side, which is all done. That's not going to have a door on it, I'm just going to be cutting windows out, but as you can see, I've resealed this panel in here. Obviously you can see some sealant, but I thought it's better to use more sealant than not enough, like they did originally when they built it. So it's all going to be painted anyway, as much as it would be cool to leave it as bare aluminium and basically have it as an airstream on the back. I think it's going to be better if we paint it and you know, give it a real finished look. So the boxes have been, the faceplate of these boxes have been removed. It's got two Erbespascher Airtronic diesel heaters, one of which I may reuse. They're 4.8 kilowatt each, so if it's all insulated properly, I don't think you would need two of them. It's total overkill, given the fact it wasn't really insulated before, so they probably did need to keep it warm with people in and out of it as a library. So the idea is to have the sill stopping around here and trim off this additional bit of metal here, which will allow the faceplates to sit flat on the wall. And then I'll run some aluminium box section all the way along the sill, because you can see the bottoms aren't attached yet. So I'll put some aluminium box section all the way along the sill of the van with probably some angled aluminium checker plate. I've still got to cut out the wheel arch, so that's got to be cut out like I've done on the other side. And then I can start trimming the back off here as well, just because the rear, given it's got quite a long overhang, you want to obviously angle this upwards a bit where it meets the, you can probably see the rear wall is not as low, so the bumper sits underneath there, which is looking sorry for itself over there, which I'm going to get powder coated gloss black as I'm going to with the wheels. A friend of mine is a TIG welder, so he is currently sorting out the corner piece that goes there. There was one already. One of the problems I had was this corner piece, as much as it's a bit worse for wear, once it's all sanded and painted it will look lovely. That was one entire piece, which was actually on this side originally. Now the piece that was here was two bits of aluminium that had been sealed in the middle, so it was just asking for a leak. And lo and behold, when I cut this corner off, there was literally water running out of the wall, like you turned on a tap. It was unbelievable. The grinder was spraying water all over me as soon as I hit one. It was like a pocket of water in the wall, so it was always going to leak. I don't know why they didn't bother just welding, you know, having one complete piece like they've done here. So this corner is fixed through the aluminium sheet into a timber. As you could see, there was stud work inside, so all of that stud work has been positioned so that it's where there's a join of the aluminium, and I've used a joggler, or a flanger you might want to call it, which creates a lip essentially. So if there's a bit I can show you. So if you see here, there's a lip that you basically stamp into the edge of the aluminium, so that the next piece can sit on top of it, and you fix through that with some sealant, and it makes it rock solid like you've got here. So there's marine grade sealant in between, waterproof corrugated roof fixings basically, so they've got waterproof washers, and yeah, shouldn't be leaking anytime soon at all. And that, I mean, you wouldn't even need the fixings with that sealant. It's really, really strong stuff. It can be on the be submerged in salt water, or, you know, on boats and things like that, so it's mega strong. As you can see, I've cut out for the wheel arch there, and the idea is obviously, like on the other side, I have box section behind, and then angled aluminium on the outer side, as just to finish it off. Basically, it's going to come up, round, down, and all the way along the side, and the whole way around the van, basically. The front of the boxes is the same ply fiberglass mix, so I may very well have to deconstruct these face plates and remove this middle panel here and replace it with either aluminium checker plate or just some normal aluminium, because I don't want those doors to suddenly start rotting like the other panels have. I think it may have already started to happen a little bit in places, but I've gone this far with it. I'd rather just replace the whole lot, really. Umming again. But yeah, I just want it to be something that will last for 20 years, you know. So there is, I mean, it looks amazing now, the difference from when I started to now. Once this corner piece is on and I've trimmed off the back and done the wheel arch there, and it's all had all the finishing touches around the edges and everything, it's going to look amazing. I can't wait to pull it out and just have a look at it. And and once it's been painted battleship grey and the wheels are gloss black, and we've got gloss back rear bumper and front bumper as well, it's just going to look so cool. And the plan is to put light bars all the way around as well, so say 2 on each side, 1 on the rear, 1 on the front, so that you can have individual switches for each one, so that, you know, say you did take it somewhere and you couldn't really see where you were, or if you were just inside and heard something, you can switch on all of the floodlights and you'd be almost lighting it up like a football pitch. So it would be mega. I'll quickly get in and show you the layout that we're planning to do. So rather than just putting a bulkhead there and calling it done, the idea is to build a timber frame all above the cab, weld some steels in just above the door opening, and insulate that, and then have our mattress basically that should come level with this bit of metal here, and obviously I would have built and insulated a timber sort of framework around that, so our bed will be above the cab and coming out about 2 metres, so that we've got space underneath for Bear to have his own little cosy pen, with the bulkhead obviously across, so you won't be able to get into the cab apart from a little hatch I'm going to put in Bear's pen in case we need to nip into the front and move the van or something like that without getting out. And the idea is that there's a diagonal corridor coming down this way, so we'll have a toilet there and the door will open this way, so that it almost meets the wall that's going to be here. And the plan is to have a full bath. I love a bath. I'm sure some people can relate, and some people probably think I'm crazy, but I think we can quite easily fit a full-size bath. So it'll be a diagonal corridor, so the bath will fit in there and will come to a certain distance this way. There'll be triangular shelves going up the wall behind where you put your head, say, if you were sat in the bath, and we'll have the corridor running there with some kind of ladder or something for me and my other half to climb up into bed. And below that will be a little gate for Bear to go in and out of his little bed area there as well. So there'll be a stud-work wall here coming up, either side of where the stairs will be. We were thinking about bringing the floor out to the edge of the wall, but actually it'll be quite nice to have a kind of grand entrance with stairs coming in. It'll be easier for the dog to get in as well. Given he's a Mastiff, I don't want him to have any problems with his knees in the future. He's only a couple of years old, but they're notoriously bad for getting hip dysplasia and problems with their knees. So the plan is to make it as easy for him to get in and out as possible, and it means that we've got a lot sort of higher wall space in the entrance porch, basically for hanging coats and shoes on the wall. I'm going to make some really cute shoe racks and things, so that it just is so easy. We can come in, wipe the feet on, say, a doormat on the first step, and then I'm planning on putting some kind of really thinly cut stone or something that's all sealed around the edges, so we've got this lovely stone entrance with a curtain behind the actual front door. We're going to get an oak front door that I'm going to probably split into a barn door with a wooden frame around it, so there'll be a piece, obviously aluminium, going across here with the door opening cut out within the space that's there, as it won't be anywhere near as big as the sliding door that was taken out. And yeah, you'll come in and then there'll be probably a corridor about that sort of width, so you'll have bathroom, toilet, dog bed, and then our bed above, with a diagonal corridor coming that way. And the door for the toilet will open up and meet the wall of the bathroom, so that you could leave the toilet door open during the night, so you can climb down from bed, come down the corridor, and you've got like an ensuite toilet there, say with a mirror on the back of the door, so it makes the toilet space bigger. And then there'll be a door into the bath here. Probably, given the way a bath's shaped, you've obviously got a lip around the edge of the bath and then the bit that you sit in. So I'll probably build a timber frame that holds the lip of the bath and then kick it inwards underneath, so that you can stand facing the bath with your feet next to each other, rather than having to kind of walk sideways down it to get in and out of it. So we've just about got enough space to stand next to the bath within that room, and probably have some kind of fold down piece of timber on the wall, so once you've had a shower or a bath, you can fold this bit of timber down and sit down on it and dry your feet and things like that. And then come out and probably have some kind of bath mat that we've got hanging on the door that you can put down when you come out. And so if I come from this way, so the bath would be there. You've come in from the van, from outside there, got your lovely entrance porch, and then there'll probably be some kind of curtain you can have that comes across from this stud wall to where the bathroom is, just to separate the front from the back. And the back is going to be all open plan. So the plan is to have, from where the bathroom wall stops, will be kitchen all the way along until about here, and there'll be a U-shaped sofa at the end that's on a raised platform about probably 1/2 foot tall at an angle, because I want the U-shape to be longer this side and then a sort of shorter bit jutting out here, so we'll have an angled step almost that the sofa will be up on, so we'll have really deep drawers underneath that bit of flooring. and then a wood burner. Obviously there's 2 more sheets of aluminium here ready for me to do what I need to do, so I imagine there's a step coming kind of across here almost meeting the kitchen, so the kitchen would stop about here, and you've got a lovely big sofa there, step up there with drawers underneath, and a wood burner right there with where Bear can have his kind of little bed as well for when he's out and about in the lounge. And then we'll have a fold up table from that wall for eating, and we'll find a set of 4 really cute stools, or I'll make something out of copper pipe that we can have stacked there basically, so if there's only 2 of us, which it probably will be most of the time, or if we've got guests. My other half sister's got a little baby boy, and her partner's in the Navy, so he's often not around, so I'm sure they'll be over quite a lot with the little one, so we can seat 4 people there, so it'll probably fold up from that wall and maybe be able to then flip out again to make it enough space for 4. It's quite hard to show the size of this place on camera, but it is massive. I mean, for something that you can still drive, and just the dimensions of it, it's really pretty much a square box. There's a slight angle on the walls going inwards, but because I've replaced the walls with aluminium, there's actually less of an angle now because of the thickness of the walls. So it's near enough a straight wall, and it would be really nice to build things in here. And given I've basically built the whole back of the van, I'll be able to know where there's a timber. Everything will be rock solid, and you will have to use very minimal amount of timber to build it, so it should be as lightweight as possible. I believe it started out at, I think it says on the side, unladen weight's 5.9 tonnes. I reckon I've taken out 500 or 600 kilos, including the disabled lift. So it should give us a lot of room to play with. And given you are, at the end of the day, you only need the same things to live. So just because it's bigger doesn't mean I'm going to be putting in more than we need. So it's going to be as lightweight as possible. And yeah, it should be just an amazing living space. I can't wait to get started on the inside. Really, it's just, the Sprint Electron wheelbase I'm on now is obviously top priority, and the weather's been terrible, so I've managed to get a bit done when I've had a Saturday free and a couple of people to help me, because it's quite a big job taking walls out and replacing the whole back of it. A few of them have said you may as well have just bought a flatbed, but yeah, you wouldn't have found a Vario with this sort of conditioned chassis and mileage. I mean, it's done 58,000 miles, and they use this engine in coaches and Vario buses and things. The Plaxton Beavers and things, if you've ever looked at them, and they've done often 350, 400,000 miles, and they're barely even run in, and they'll quite happily go another 200,000 miles. So I'm hoping this will last for the next 20 years if it's well maintained, and it runs lovely. So yeah, it's really great to drive as well. And yeah, so this is just an introduction really. Expect a long build series over this year. Obviously it's not something I'm doing every day, it's like I said, an evening and weekends when the weather permits basically, so it's nothing's going to happen very quickly with it, but I'd like to think I've done the worst bit of it now, replacing the body so that we've got a dry frame to start with basically. There'll be timbers going across the wall plates onto, from one side to the other. This piece of aluminium sits proud of the rest of the roof. So I'll have to notch each piece of timber basically so that it will sit on this wall plate, because it will not sit upright. I want the timbers to be at this the way they are there. I want them to be upright so they're stronger. So I'm going to run them all the way down the van so that we can potentially put a big roof rack on the top. Because the plan is to put sort of anywhere from 1500 watts to 2000 watts of solar on the roof, as there's plenty of space to fit at least 6 panels on the front. So I figured 6 300 watt panels would be 1800 watts. So that skylight will be going, so we'll have to make good and get rid of that, and then there'll be solar panels all over the roof, and then the plan is to cut these 2 roof lights out and replace them with Dometic Heki 2s, which are a bit bigger, which is good, so I can cut these out and then put the new lights in without having to make good and put, say putting something smaller in, you'd have to make good around them to fit something smaller. So we've just decided to go with 2 really big roof lights. If you've seen the Dometic Hekis before, they're really lovely, clear roof lights. So loads of light in. These are currently opaque, so they don't really bring in much light. The Heki 3s are lovely, but they're so much money. So the Heki 2s I think will probably be more realistic. And the plan is to have a really big Dometic Sights S4 or S5 window at the back there. I think 1400 by 800, and then another one above the kitchen worktop here, and then another one opposite essentially, so between the wood burner and nearly above where we'll be eating, so when the weather's nice you can hinge them right out. and just have loads of light coming in, and the back window will be a whopper, so that'll allow, you know, loads more light again and air, so we could have the skylights open, all the windows open, all with bug screens and blinds and things like that, and it will make it super comfortable. The style I'm going to do it is similar to how my Transit is and any of the builds that I've done. The plan is to have some more prominent timbers, either the ones I've run across or some extra ones on top of those, just to make it like beams really. So it'll be beams and then tongue and groove, then a beam, then more tongue and groove. And we're going to use a real mixture of materials and lots of copper and nice wood and just all sorts of stuff. Probably some cork flooring as well, like what I'm going to be using in the extra long wheelbase Sprinter. And yeah, I mean, you can probably tell I'm pretty excited about it. And yeah, so I'm talking at 1,000,000 miles an hour, trying not to and ah so much. But yeah, I'm like mega excited. It's such a cool van. And yeah, sorry if I'm rambling on, but yeah, just expect some updates when I can get a chance to do something really. I'll probably set up a tripod and do a time lapse of me pop it, you know, buzzing around in here, basically getting stuff done. I've also got this lovely mass of wires to deal with. I mean, it's mind-boggling. I think all of this will be going, because this was all the controls for all the stuff that I've already stripped out. So I think most of this is probably going to just get torn out. I just need to make sure none of it is affecting anything that runs the van and all the rear lights, because I think most of the wiring for the rear lights and things like that are underneath on the chassis from what I've seen, and the rear license plate lights and things. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a project, obviously, but I think I've got the worst of it out the way in terms of getting it structurally sound, and we'll have to do a bit of sealing on the roof, because these roof lights are the only things that are leaking on the roof. So I'm going to probably go around the whole roof, reseal everything once they've been removed, and we've made good with this one here. Yeah, and it's going to be pretty cool. I mean, this is going to be like, you know, the van to rule all vans. George Clark likes to think he's building the best motorhome out there. I can assure you this is going to be the best motorhome out there. Not to be cocky, but I've got a vision in my head of what this is going to be like, and it's going to be absolutely mind-blowing. So just make sure you keep watching, subscribe, press the bell button. I think that's the thing to do, so you can see when I put a video up. And yeah, just watch this space really. Any comments welcome, suggestions, ideas. You know, please, you know, don't hesitate to leave a comment and suggest what you think I could do with it. It's such a big space, you could do anything with it. Hence why I'm going a bit mad and thinking, right, I'm going to put a bath in there. I'm going to probably sink a tablet into the wall so you can sit in the bath watching Netflix, and yeah, it'll be amazing. I'm hoping to get a couple of portholes or something for the bathroom, so you've got a bit of ventilation in there. May put some kind of wall-mounted extractor fan as well, but it's finding one that's 12 volt that won't get damaged by, you know, moisture and things like that on the outside of the van. So I'll have to find something, or maybe make like an aluminium hood that goes over it and fit it to the wall. So it's going to be as close as it can be to a luxury kind of chalet apartment, basically, is the idea. So anyway, I'll stop rambling on. Please like and subscribe, and thank you again for all of the support, and apologies for the rant at the beginning of the video. Just had a very stressful weekend, and I'm sure some people can relate. You know, people in life are sent to test you, and you know, if you don't grow and learn from it and move on from it, really, you never get anywhere. So yeah, life's a test, and you know, you get what you take from it, really. So everyone out there, please work hard. If someone says you can't do something, then I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can find a way to do it, and that's where I've always approached things. So think big and go for it. Why not? So again, yeah, please check out our Instagram as well. I'm going to start trying to post a bit more on there on a daily basis. The extra long wheelbase Sprinter is coming on really well. It looks amazing. And yeah, by all means, just leave me a comment or send me a message if you've got any thoughts. And yeah, all the support is very welcome and appreciated. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you on probably the next video of the extra long wheelbase Sprinter. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.